KFI AM 640. It's another edition of Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the iHeartRadio app. We have a wonderful show. I know a lot of times we may say that, but tonight I absolutely mean it. If you're a fan of Fox News, I know that you heard what the Five had to say about the new movie Superman and how it is woke. Well, I don't know if there is a better show in all of talk radio to address Superman, its history, both in the comics and on the silver screen and even the small screen television shows. I don't know if there's a show which knows Superman better than this one. So we're going to get into the facts and separate it from the fiction of what that character created back, I think, in 1938, if I'm not mistaken, and its history and whether Fox got it right or really, really, really wrong. And let me give you a hint. They have no idea what they're talking about. None. And so before you come at us talking about, well, no. You are not Superman experts like this show. You're just going to have to take our word for it. But we'll have plenty of facts to back up what we have to say. We're also going to tell you about the friendliest cities in America. Top 10 ranked. Maybe there's a California entrant. And LA Metro users, I'm calling fake news on this. Supposedly, after some survey, they want increased frequency and improved cleanliness and less money spent on policing. Wink, wink. Yes, I want a clean train when I get stabbed. Sure. And also a woman loses her arm after a collision with an oncoming train in Ventura County. Well, she could have lost her life, but, you know, if she only lost her arm, she got off easy. And, yeah, it's going to be going down tonight. And I cannot wait for this Superman conversation because not often do you have a story which is just perfect for you. Twala had put something else in the slot. I said, no. We're talking about Superman. And we're going to do it live. We're going to talk about Superman. We're even going to involve Mark Runner, who has written comics before. We have Twala Sharp, who's collected comics most of his life. And there's me. I just know a lot about Superman. Mark Runner, how many comics do you think you've written in your lifetime?
I actually don't have a count, but lots.
Lots, okay. You kind of know something about the subject.
Oh, I've been a comic reader long before I was a comic writer, ever since I was a kid. I mean, those are what teach you how to read, and you stay with them your whole life. I still have all my comics. And I'll be honest with you, it took me a while to become a Superman fan because I was a Batman fan growing up. But then you kind of learn to be less uptight as you get older and realize that Superman is about kindness and decency and their tall tales.
Yeah.
And not everything has to be some dark story about people getting punched in the face.
I was not a Superman, quote unquote, fan. I liked him, but I did not gravitate towards the character, if only because I couldn't identify with him. I'll give you a perfect example. I could identify with Spider-Man, and that's who I grew up loving. The nerd who was in high school, who was afraid to talk to girls. That was closer to me in my experience than some guy who landed in Kansas and all of a sudden no one could look at him and realize that he wasn't even from the planet. I went to school and I stuck out because everyone knew I wasn't from the neighborhood. You know, I was growing up in Harbor City, but going to school in Torrance. I was one of maybe 5 black students in the Torrance Unified School District at the time. In 1973. So I could not relate to Superman who could just blend in.
And you were leaking web fluid everywhere?
No, I wasn't leaking web fluid. No. But I did try to use my chemistry set growing up. It was a very rudimentary set to make some web fluid.
How'd that go?
It didn't work.
And, you know, that's the secret of Marvel. When Marvel came around in the early 60s, they humanized all their characters and gave them normal people problems, which DC really didn't have. DCs were much more godlike.
Right. It's hard to relate to Batman because no one, for the most part, was extremely wealthy. You couldn't relate to Wonder Woman because where's Themyscira? You know, there were no analogs, if you will, just walking around or someone you could base that on. And the same, obviously, with Superman. It's, okay, kryptonite, that's it? That's it? That's all he has to worry about?
Well, and magic. But once you get your keys to Superman, it all makes sense. And they're not as ridiculous. And let me recommend to everybody who's never read it, Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman, probably one of the best Superman stories ever written.
So, yes, we are going to talk about Superman. You have James Gunn, his movie, which is officially coming out on the 11th. They had the world premiere last night. So it's one of the biggest talkers, as they say, in all talk radio. We're definitely going to get into that, but we're going to save it until hour number 2. When we come back, we're going to tell you about the friendliest cities in America, the top 10, according to somebody who really doesn't matter, but it's fine to talk about. There might be a California entrant or two. So let's talk about who's friendly and who's a little bit less than friendly. KFI AM 640. It's later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube. You can see me right now. You can see me on Instagram, Facebook, and you can hear me on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app. And friendly is relative. I'll be the first to admit that. What I consider friendly, you may not consider friendly. And I'll give you a perfect example. When you're walking down the street, do you avoid eye contact with someone? Do you say hello? Do you say good morning? Do you at least offer a smile? Friendliness means different things to different people. For the most part, it depends on the environment. If I'm walking through an urban center, if I'm in the big city, I'm probably not speaking to anyone. I'll make eye contact because I want you to know that I see you and I'm aware of you. But it may not be a conversation. But, if it's in a grocery store, you make eye contact with someone, I'll say good morning, hello, that kind of thing. That's me. Other people, they want no parts of that. They want no interaction. They don't want to say hello. They don't want to make eye contact. And, I get it. Me, depends on the moment. But I live in L.A. I don't know if L.A.'s on this list. And to figure out, this is according to Yuzu, a dating app. And to figure out which spots will flash you a smile the fastest, the team asked its users to rate just how friendly they think their home city is, including factors like the frequency of positive interactions with strangers, just like I was telling you about, the likelihood of receiving help when needed, and the overall friendliness of local residents, all ranking them on a 1 to 10 scale. The insights for each factor were combined to produce each city's final score out of 10, which the team said blended, quote, quantifiable data with the lived experiences of locals, close quote. Put another way, here's the top 10 friendliest cities in America, and it means absolutely nothing. Coming in at number 10. Denver, Colorado. I think I've been there twice. Nothing bad to say about Denver. It was all right. Number 9. Well, according to this, it says Mile High greetings in a community-minded spirit. Keep Denver feeling personal. Number 9. Minneapolis, St. Paul. I've been there. Lakeside serenity and genuine Midwest warmth. What's not to love? I'll tell you what's not to love. The freaking cold weather. That motherfucker is cold. Have you ever been there in the winter? I've been to Madison, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Minneapolis in the winter. The Midwest, there's plenty to not love about it. And I know you know Mark Runner.
Well, people are friendlier there because they need each other's bodily warmth to survive.
I was in Wisconsin one year and I was staying with a friend and I got up early in the morning and went to use the restroom and she said, hold on. She'd been boiling some water. I thought it was for some coffee or tea or something. She said, no. You have to thaw out the toilet because right now it's all frozen. And I'm like, yeah. You mean the water in the bowl? She said, yeah, if you go in there, it's just going to be ice.
Yeah. I can't live like that. Yeah. I never have and I never will. Coming in at number 8 of the friendliest cities in America. Hey, Stefan. Do you know the way? To San Jose, baby. Sunnyvale and Santa Clara. It says tech optimism pairs with friendly neighborhoods, making this innovation hub surprisingly down to earth. Coming in at number 7. Boston. Cambridge, Newton, Massachusetts. Rich in history and neighborhood camaraderie, Bostonians prove that wicked friendly is a real thing. I've never heard that about Boston in my life. Never. I've never been there, so I can't say firsthand. But I've never heard that Boston was a friendly city.
This list is already sus.
Number 6. Honolulu, Hawaii. The Aloha spirit in action, island kindness that welcomes you with open arms no matter where you're from. I actually haven't been to Hawaii either, but I'll believe it. I'll take it. I'll allow it. That's number 6. Coming in at number 5 of the friendliest cities in the United States. According to Yuzu. Houston, Texas. Big-hearted Texas hospitality, world-class dining, and a multicultural flair that brings people together. I've been there a few times. I don't think it was overly friendly.
But they did have a lot of Southern charm when I went.
Okay. Yeah, I've been there a few times. It didn't jump out at me.
Even the Rap-A-Lot crew, they were very hospitable.
Yeah, you know what they do for a living, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I said they were very hospitable.
Yes. We'll tell you about that some other time. Number 4 of the friendliest cities in the United States. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, to just push them all together. A tropical blend of cultures and colors where friendly waves and hola ring through the balmy air. I like Miami. I don't remember it as being friendly, just a great place to party.
I think the heat and the humidity would make me cranky constantly, and I'm not buying this.
Not
for a second.
All them thong bikinis out there,
yeah,
you'll buy it.
I mean, you're waving and saying hello to almost everything that walks by. Hey, hello, hey, I see you. How you doing? Yeah,
I've never seen more beautiful women in my life in one small enclosed area called South Beach.
So from a lechery point of view, it's an okay place to be.
Very friendly.
Okay. Very friendly.
Gotcha.
It drinks all around flowing. Very friendly.
Can't speak about the rest of the city, but as far as Ocean and Collins Avenue,
it could have been nuclear waste when you get deeper into the suburbs.
Right. We're not talking about Liberty City.
No. No.
Coming in.
No.
Number 3 of the friendliest cities in the United States. Phoenix, Arizona.
I don't think so.
I know.
No.
Desert warmth goes beyond temperature. Residents here bring an uplifting, can-do spirit to every encounter. That's just a lie.
Okay. No. Okay. Point of fact.
Okay.
In Phoenix, almost every citizen, I'm talking 8 to 80, is walking around with a sidearm on their hip. So I think that gives everyone reason to be nice and friendly and cool. Hey,
That's the same in Dallas and other places I've been in the South. It doesn't mean that they're friendly. If anything, they're less friendly. It's almost like confrontational.
How does walking around armed to the teeth count as friendly?
It lets everyone know, hey, we're all on the same page. I don't have to worry about anything. I'll shoot you. You'll shoot me.
But that's not like saying, hello, good morning, I'll shoot you in your neck.
We have an understanding, so let's all be cool. Let's all be cool.
I don't interpret that as being friendly.
A little bit of a stretch there.
Number 2 of the friendliest cities in the United States, according to Yuzu. Raleigh, North Carolina. I was just there. Yeah, it was fine. Nothing special. It's definitely a southern city, and it says Southern comfort meets cutting-edge innovation where warm hellos are as common as sweet tea. I wouldn't go that far. I don't think it's like, top 10. I've been to a lot of cities. I think I've been to maybe 40 states of the 50 and Puerto Rico. But I would not say Raleigh is top 10. Definitely not number 2. That's just me.
There's bribery involved in this list. It's crooked.
And coming in number 1, the friendliest city in the United States, according to this app that I've never heard of. San Diego, California. Believable?
No, it's not.
No, it isn't. No.
I have yet to go down to to a Comic-Con where I thought the city was anywhere near friendly.
Because of the price gouging?
The gouging and the overall surliness of people who just seem to dislike all nerd kind. I mean, the businesses, yeah, they were sucking up the money like Hoovers, but I think just in general, I've never gotten a, hey, we love you, welcome to San Diego.
It says breezy beach vibes, surf-friendly shores. That's not true because they don't want you on their beaches.
They don't.
And locals who are as relaxed as the ocean breeze.
The locals may be relaxed, but that's not friendly.
They're relaxed around each other.
Around each other, yeah.
Yeah.
They see you. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm mad that Louisiana
Thank you.
is not on this because I swear the
Thank
New Orleans,
New Orleans should be in the top 10.
Absolutely.
Top
It's one of the
3.
cities, yeah.
I would say top 3 because hands down the friendliest. I'm talking in the hotel, going into every restaurant, and anywhere I went, it was, hey sugar, hey
Thank
baby,
you.
hey, what you need?
What
Go
you
and
need,
sit down.
baby? How
I
you
felt
doing?
everywhere I was going, I'm like, this is like
That's
my
my
auntie.
cousin. Right,
Yeah,
right.
like it was like that. Yeah.
No, you're right. During Mardi Gras once, I had a strange woman on the street just attempt to mount me.
Very nice.
Did she
Very
flash you
nice.
before or after?
Kind of throughout.
Very nice.
It doesn't get much friendlier than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friendly and frisky.
I got a lot of New Orleans stories that I just cannot tell on the air. I just cannot. Some great stories, and they led to the bane of my existence. I'm sorry, Carnisha. Do not date a woman from New Orleans, especially a Creole one.
Okay. That's a fact. That's a fact. But weren't you lured in by that sweeter than honey niceness of that Creole gal?
Shh. It looked all good at the moment. It was one of those love at first sight things until I realized it was Damien, Omen 3.
And next thing you knew, you would never eat a plate of spaghetti again in your
Oh my
life
God.
without looking sideways.
I refuse to go back to New Orleans because of this one person
Oh.
who shall remain nameless.
We're going to need some details.
No,
Thank you.
You can need all you want, okay? This is L.A. We're not a friendly city. KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, we have a Metro update. And they're lying. It's another liar.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I remember standing right across from me when a smelly vagrant lost his mind. I remember an old man pooping next to me on the LA Metro.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app. And I'm telling you right now, it's fake news. It's not real. Somebody's lying. We've seen press conference after press conference after press conference. And let me ask you, what was the number one issue that they discussed at the press conferences regarding LA Metro? Anyone? Bueller? Safety, that's right. That was the number one issue. This was Family Feud to be number one on the board. And we'd play. No one, yes, we were concerned about cleanliness, how unsanitary it was, how you may not be able to get from one place to another like the airport. But everyone knows the top issue has always been safety or lack thereof. LA Metro thinks that we're dumb. They want to play us a fool. According to responses collected on their annual My Metro budget, the interactive online tool. In other words, we asked ourselves what is most important. And it came back with writer feedback, wink, wink. And it said that LA Metro users want increased frequency and improved cleanliness and less money spent on policing. Who would say that? Who would say less? We don't care about money spent or how it's spent. We want it safe, we want it clean, and we want it in that order. Safety more than anything. They were not on TV talking about how safe it was, arguing against people like me by themselves. They felt compelled to respond to the negative feedback and the criticism I and others were offering regarding the lack of safety. Every time someone got shanked, we told you about it. Every time someone got killed, we told you about it. Every time something bad physically happened to a rider on a bus, on a platform, on a train, we told you about it. How many times, guys, did we talk about stories about having to do with cleanliness or infrequency of trains? Stephen, can you remember a time we ever talked about that?
Not that I can remember.
Tuala, can you remember any time where we set time aside to talk about specifically a story in the news about how Metro was just nasty?
No, that's never been the focus.
Mark Runner, do you ever remember talking about a story in the news break on KFI, which was centered around the unsanitary nature of Metro?
I feel like I shouldn't answer your questions.
Your Honor, may I have permission to treat this as a hostile witness?
I feel like I'm being backed into a corner here.
Your Honor,
You're
compel
setting
the
me
witness
up.
to answer.
I'm just going to issue a blanket. I don't recall.
Okay, that's fair enough. Don't recall. But we're supposed to believe that the people who responded to their tool that they put up there, what they would want improved on Metro, said that they wanted increased frequency of trains and cleaner trains, but specifically said less spent on policing. I don't believe that.
You know how lies sound? Like this, right? For instance, right? When someone is lying and they know they've committed this heinous thing that's unforgivable, they will start off with some lesser things. Like, if I broke into your house, they would say something like, Mo, your house, looks really nice. I mean, your neighborhood is really secure. I would never break into your house. And you're like,
Who was talking about that?
Who said anything about breaking into the house?
And you know something else? When you're making suggestions for a company, let's say you go to a hotel and they have the suggestions box. You don't make any budget suggestions. You don't do that. You would say, hey, the lobby needs to be reconfigured, or, we need a better place where we can hang out and leave our luggage. But you don't say, I think this hotel should spend less money on housekeeping. This is what they're trying to say. They're saying that people who gave their feedback said that Metro should spend less on policing. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. If it was not an issue, they wouldn't bring it up. They wouldn't say, that line item for that Metro police force that Mo Kelly's been talking about, you don't need to spend that much money there.
Even this headline is written like it's being said to you, Mo Kelly. It's almost like, hey, Mo Kelly,
it is.
LA Metro users want increased frequency and improved cleanliness, less spent on policing.
They're trying to make the brother look bad. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
They want to make it look like, I don't know what the people want. I don't know what's really going on at Metro. You have Mo Kelly out there on KFI talking about we need to have a safer train. We need to spend money on a Metro Transit Authority police department. And here, he's wrong. We got the proof. We have the data. People want cleaner trains, not safer trains.
Love, excuse me. Fake news.
Thank you, Jamie. Jamie Trump. Damn you, Stephen.
I love it when you refer to yourself in the third person, by the way. If you could do that more often, that'd be great.
I'm sure Mo Kelly can.
Mark Ronner loves it.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, we're going to go from train to another train. But this, unfortunately, is about a woman who lost her arm after a collision with an oncoming train. If that's the worst that happened, she got off easy.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I've always lived close to train tracks, both commercial and industrial. Commercial, like you'll see the Amtrak go by. The industrial, you'll see the different cars go by. They're obviously transporting goods and that kind of thing. You can tell about how fast they do or don't go. Amtrak is usually faster, so I will say that. But you can always see them coming. There is a crossing. You know, they're not going to sneak up on you. You have to go out of your way to do something stupid to be hit by a train. You really do. A woman was hit and seriously injured yesterday by an Amtrak train Monday evening in Ventura, and it severed her arm. It happened around 5:25 p.m. yesterday, so we're saying broad daylight. It's not even close to the sun going down. There's no way the Amtrak should sneak up on anybody. And it happened at a railroad overcrossing, okay? Near Seaward Avenue. 24-year-old woman was believed to be carrying a bicycle in one arm as she crossed the train tracks near an oncoming southbound train. Great visibility from what I understand. Holding a bicycle. Why she chose not to ride the bike across the tracks, which would have been faster, I don't know. Why she chose to cross the tracks at all with an oncoming train, I don't know. There probably was a signal that had already been lit, because that's what traffic signals do. They let you know that a train is coming. And there's usually like a bell, ding, 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 train coming. I don't know why all that was likely ignored. Quote, the train struck the bicycle while it was still in her grasp, resulting in the traumatic injury. It appears the bicycle may have become stuck on the tracks just before the collision occurred. Well, you're going to have to let that bike go. You have to let the bike go. If it's stuck, it almost like something out of a movie, like you're trying to run across the tracks. Jason or, I don't know, Freddy is chasing you and your foot gets caught in the tracks. You got to leave that person behind. Look, you have to choose your battles. Are you going to try to save the bike, or are you going to try to save yourself? I would try to save myself. If Mark fell down, I don't know. If Stefan got his foot caught in the tracks, I don't know. It just might be, survival of the fittest.
And that would be you, the fittest?
Well, if you're the one who got stuck and I didn't, that's probably how it played out.
I see. Well, that's heartwarming. Thank you for that.
Well, at least I'm honest. I'll let you know up front. If in the event that we find ourselves in a similar situation where you are stuck in a railroad track and there's an oncoming train, don't look to me to extricate you.
No, listen, I've got the fear of God in me from my very first newspaper job, having covered lots of train accidents, car train, human train. If this woman only lost an arm and wasn't reduced to raspberry preserves, she got off lucky. Like you said, I've covered lots of these things as young cub reporter Mark. We're doing third person again. And they're horrifying. And they mostly are a result of people being impatient.
Right.
And not wanting to wait, thinking they can race across, not sometimes realizing there are two coming from opposite directions. These things are horrifying.
I have never in my life, and I can honestly say, I have never in my life even thought about racing a train or beating a train at a crossing. Not walking, not driving, not bicycling. And I say that because growing up in Torrance, there is a train track which runs almost like diagonal through the city of Torrance. It's like Sepulveda and Western, and you get caught by the same train 2 or 3 different times. There were always opportunities for me to put that to the test, either riding my bike or driving a car. Never, ever have I done it. And then when I was riding the subway, I would say there are 3 or 4 instances in which either there was a car or a person on the tracks who had gotten hit and then delayed my train for an hour or two. It's something I just can't understand. Why would you even put yourself on the tracks at any time? There is a signal. If you're walking at a place where there isn't a signal, well, damn, I can't help you.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out that you probably shouldn't be in the way of a train. The thing is, there are movies like, I don't know, To Live and Die in L.A. or Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry where people do race trains, but in real life, the train always wins.
Every single time. And this is something I do hear from people. They expect the train to either be able to slow down or stop.
No.
That's impossible. And they're not even going to try and risk a derailment.
I'd like to introduce you to physics. It doesn't work.
An object in motion tends to stay in motion, especially if it's, I don't know, 450 tons or however much it weighs, traveling at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, a locomotive with multiple heavy cars it's pulling. It doesn't stop like your Honda, okay?
No, it doesn't. And you're going to lose every single time. I've done some stupid stuff in my life, and I've done, a lot. There are things which, yes, could have gotten me killed. Yes, would have put me in jail. But trains is something I never mess with. Maybe because they were ever present in the South Bay, and they were ever present in other places that I lived, like in West LA. So there are always these opportunities to see in a real sense how fast and how quickly the train will approach after the arm comes down. You may think you have time to beat it, but you really don't. And that's not a game you want to play. That's not a game of chicken you ever want to play.
No, you don't want to make that bet. There's nothing that you're doing that is so urgent that you can't wait for the train just to go, no matter how long the train is.
Right. And I know sometimes the train you could be stuck at a light. I know this one at Sepulveda and Western in Torrance. You could be stuck there for literally 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So I understand the urge and the desire, but it is not worth killing you and possibly someone else if you bounce off the train and careen into someone else's car.
No, that's 30 minutes longer you get to live.
It's a good way to look at it. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.